Good morning, students. We are on the chapter in the Kingdom of Fools, and the name of your book is Moments. So, we have studied that there was a kingdom in which the ruler, the king, and his ministers were, passing out quite awkward rules and regulations, and people were also following them. That's why it was a kingdom of fools, and there was a saint guru and his disciples thought of living there in the kingdom only. The ruler, the guru warned him and asked him to go with him, but still he wanted to be there. And then there was a twist in the story. A burglar was died while he was breaking into the house for theft, but the wall collapsed and he died. And who is the murderer, who is guilty? Upon that, the decision is going to be taken up. So lastly, it was being decided that it was the fault of the goldsmith. Poor thing, she is absolutely right, thought the king. So when that woman, she claimed that it was a fault of goldsmith, though the king was agreed to her point that yes, she is right. Weighing the evidence, we have got the real culprit at last. So he was thinking that at last the real culprit who has done all this mess, we have got that person. Get the goldsmith wherever he is hiding at once. So the king ordered and summoned the goldsmith that wherever he is, go and take him. The king's bailiff searched for the goldsmith who was hiding in a corner of his shop. So the king's servants, the king's sepoys or soldiers, they got the goldsmith. He was hiding. He was so afraid that he was hiding in a corner of his shop. When he heard the accusation against him, he had his own story to tell. Then, when he got to know that he was guilty of that, then he also had his own story to tell. My lord, he said, I am a poor goldsmith. I am a poor, miserable goldsmith. It's not my fault. It's true. I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I could not finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's orders. They had a wedding coming and they wouldn't wait. You know how impatient rich men are. Now, he told the story to the king that it's true. It's true that I made that dancer come to my shop many times. I made excuses. Yes, it's right. But the reason behind that was I had an order to complete that was from a rich merchants, and there was a marriage in their house. So they were so impatient that I had to complete their order at first, and I had to make excuses to the dancer. Who's this rich merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry? So now the king became angry. He said, who is that rich merchant who was so impatient that he was not letting you finish others' work? Made her walk up and down, which distracted this bricklayer, which had made a mess of his wall, which has now fallen on an innocent man, killed him. Can you name him? So you can see the chain. The goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. So अब देखो सर्कल वहीं पे आ गया, right? And who was that goldsmith? Who was the merchant goldsmith has named? That was the original owner of the house, जिसकी दीवार गिरी थी. Now justice had come full circle, thought the king. Back to the merchant. So अब पूरा सर्कल घूम के कहाँ पे पहुँच गया? Back to that merchant. When he was rudely summoned back to the court, he arrived crying. It wasn't me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He is dead. I am innocent. Then he said, yes, it was true that these things happened, but it wasn't me, it was my father. He did that. He was so impatient. He did that. And now he is dead. I have not done anything. But the king consulted his minister and ruled decisively. It's true that your father is the true murderer. He is dead. But somebody must be punished in his place. And then the king he considered the suggestions of his ministers, and he told the decision, yes, it is true that it was your father. He was the culprit and he is dead now, but someone has to take their blame. अब किसी को तो पनिशमेंट मिलेगी उनकी जगह पे. You have inherited from that criminal father of yours his riches as well as his sins. Now uh, you are inherited. You have taken everything of your father's, whatever precious things, riches, you have got everything. So his sins also you will get. I knew at once, even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. You must die. So it was a kind of decision from the king that you must die, to the merchant he was saying. And he ordered a new stake to be made ready for the execution. So he ordered stake जिस पे execute किया जाता है कि वो बनाओ एक नया. As the servant sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of the criminal, it occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. He appealed to the king's common sense. The king too worried about it. Then, when they observed, they thought that the merchant was so thin that he would not be properly executed on that stake. Now they were thinking over it, that what is to be done. What shall we do? Now what we should do? He said, when suddenly it struck him that all they needed to do was to find a man fat enough to fit the stake. So see how stupid they were. How stupid they were. What they needed a person. अब ये नहीं वो करेंगे कि भाई कोई और स्टेक बनाओ या कुछ भी, बस कि हमें एक पर्सन चाहिए. अब जब स्टेक बन गया तो कोई तो चाहिए उस पर एग्जीक्यूट करने के लिए, कोई फैट सा इंसान. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit the stake, and their eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on bananas and rice and wheat and ghee. See, now soldiers, they were looking here and there for a fat person to be fitted in a stake. So at that time only they saw the disciple, and if you remember, disciple was eating and eating and eating. He has made himself fattened. He asked, what have I done wrong? I am innocent. I am a sannyasi, he cried. That may be true, but it's a royal decree that we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake, they said, and carried him to the place of execution. Now, he revolted. The disciple said, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm a sannyasi. I'm just here. So, soldiers, they said that it's true that you may have not done anything, but it's the royal order that we are supposed to find a person, fat person, that must fit in a stake. He remembered his wise guru's words. This is a city of fools. You don't know what they will do next. So now he remembered his guru's words. His guru has told him that we should not stay here. It is a city of fools. We don't know what they are going to do next time. It's quite dangerous to live here. While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. So while he was in danger, we all know that he was waiting for his death. So he prayed to his guru and he was asking his guru to come to him. So we all know that at that time gurus used to have so many powers that they used to sense all the things. The guru saw everything in a vision. He had magic powers. So these were the strengths of gurus at that time. He could see far, he could see the future as he could see the present and the past. He was able to see everything. He arrived at once to save his disciple who had got himself into such a scrap through love of food. So at once he came to help his disciple help his student because he was in danger. He was in that rubbish position condition just because of the food only. So students, up to here only we will study today. Revise your chapter thoroughly, and in the next video we will take up the rest of the chapter. Thank you students, have a nice day.